The morning was fresh, the air still heavy with humidity, when Georgia Cinquegrana rushed out to fetch bread from Mr. Palumbo's bakery. She was only 8 years old, yet already bore upon her shoulders the weight of a rare sensitivity. She observed the world with eyes full of tenderness. Beside the shop, old fruit crates cast shadows over a corner of the sidewalk where a small creature trembled with cold and fear. She approached slowly, driven by an inscrutable instinct. That strange glimmer demanded a name immediately. "Luna," she murmured almost by chance, watching her green eyes gleam like emeralds under the gray dawn light. Paula and Mario Cinquegrana, Georgia's parents, were away on a business trip when the little girl, her voice trembling, called them on her cell phone. "Come right away. I found an abandoned kitten." When they arrived, they found the tiny creature curled up on a pile of damp leaves, her fur matted and her big eyes full of trust and gratitude. Paula, accustomed to bringing warmth to the toughest situations, settled Luna into a basket with a soft blanket, while Mario fished his wallet from his pocket to pay the baker, who watched them with moved eyes. At home, the kitten let herself be cuddled without resistance. Georgia spoke to her in a low voice, stroking her chin, already imagining the adventures they would share. Afternoons at the window watching the courtyard, gentle walks among the garden's flowers, games with colorful balls of yarn. Luna, initially timid, soon found refuge in the girl's arms. For her, that little corner had become a safe harbor, a refuge able to soothe every wound. The first nights were difficult. Luna hid under the bed, emitting small, anxious whimpers, but Georgia, brave and patient, would crouch beside the bed with a tiny saucer of lukewarm milk and a cotton ball soaked in eye tonic. In sweet tones, she told tales of queenly cats and distant kingdoms until Luna fell asleep peacefully, imagining herself the sovereign of those stories. Thus, in a few weeks, the kitten went from a lost creature to a beloved member of that family. Each morning, before walking Georgia to school, Mario felt a pang of admiration seeing Luna pull the girl's backpack down the hallway with a gentle tap of her paw. Paula laughed, thinking there must be a feline intelligence far beyond appearances behind that gesture. Indeed, Luna seemed to understand everything: lunchtime, playtime, even when it was time to be silent and listen to the soft voice of Mrs. Fusco, the elderly neighbor next door. As the months passed, Luna did more than chase dangling feathers or hunt lizards on the stone wall. She demonstrated an almost maternal concern for any creature in distress. One day, while returning from school with Georgia, they found a little bird of vibrant plumage, injured and unable to fly. Instead of ignoring it, Luna crouched beside the little cardboard box that Georgia had placed on the ground. She stayed there, watching over it, moving only her head to warm the tiny creature with her body, until Pasquale from Animals Pets arrived, picked it up, and treated it. Over time, Luna's fame grew throughout the neighborhood. Children sought her out to play, and adults spoke in amazement of her deeds. But not everyone was ready to accept such altruistic affection between different species. Some murmured that the cat was capable of opening gates, of sneaking into other people's homes. The atmosphere slowly shifted. Curious glances turned suspicious, and Mrs. Fusco's evening gossip began claiming that small animals were being kidnapped. Yet Paula and Mario, certain of Luna's pure heart, made every effort to defend her, and each morning they and Georgia printed and posted flyers of missing puppies on every door. When Luna began behaving strangely, Paula realized something was wrong. It wasn't just her slowed movements or her desire to remain curled up inside the cabinet drawer. It was a profound change. The kitten, usually so lively, seemed lost in thought, her gaze distant. Paula and Mario decided to take her to Pasquale for a thorough checkup. The ultrasound revealed surprising news, filling the family's hearts with both joy and apprehension. Luna was pregnant. The announcement unleashed waves of conflicting emotion. Georgia carefully prepared a space in the garden shed, lining it with warm blankets and cushions. Mario bought special food for expectant cats, enriched with vitamins and protein. Paula, ever gentle, researched the best natural remedies to ensure a smoother delivery. Days full of hope followed, during which Luna moved lightly, eating with appetite and welcoming her human's caresses. At last, the day came when Luna withdrew into the little shelter in the shed. The family waited anxiously, listening to the faint, repeated mews, the signs of labor. However, after hours of tension, when Luna emerged unsteadily, the cold sting of reality struck everyone's hearts. No tiny fluff followed her. With trembling hand, Mario peered back into the shelter. 3 kittens, tiny and motionless, lay silent, born lifeless. The veterinarian explained that, unfortunately, such an outcome was not uncommon in very young cats. Exhausted, Luna remained beside her kittens, licking them in a desperate attempt to warm them. For days, she refused to leave that nest of grief. Georgia, unable to bear her companion's suffering, told her stories of brave tomcats who had overcome every trial, while Paula and Mario tried to distract her with games and gentle strokes. But nothing seemed to help. Luna had lost not only her kittens but also her will to live. A week of silence and muffled whimpers passed before Luna, taking tentative steps, decided to venture outside. Her fur, once shiny and soft, looked dull. She walked slowly, still glancing at the cage where her kittens lay. In the neighborhood, whispers and concern reached a fever pitch. Some even proposed sending Luna to a shelter, convinced she could no longer stay. But Mario, his voice firm, insisted they would save not only her life, but her very soul. And so came the night when a subdued whine finally shattered the stillness of the house. Luna, alone in the garden, had something between her teeth, a small black puppy, trembling and soaked, which, as if in a dream, she placed on the grass. And as she looked at it with eyes full of kindness, the Cinquegrana family understood that, once again, an unexpected hope was being born. That night, while the Cinquegrana family slept, a soft whimper rose from the garden. Paula awoke with a start and threw open both the window and the French door in one swift motion. Before her eyes appeared Luna, holding a tiny black puppy tightly in her mouth. The little one's muzzle was wet. He shivered with cold and was hungry. The cat gently laid him on the blanket Georgia had prepared for her imaginary litter, then, with a loving meow, curled up beside him. Mario switched on an outdoor lamp and, his face illuminated, approached slowly. The little puppy raised a paw in recognition while Luna licked him tenderly, as a mother would. Georgia ran over and, without hesitation, filled a bottle with milk. Luna waited patiently for the puppy to finish feeding, then wrapped him in her warm body to keep his heartbeat in sync with hers. In that moment, Paula realized that Luna's maternal instinct, shattered by the tragedy of her first kittens, had found a new way to flourish. In the days that followed, the little rescues did not stop at the first puppy. One evening, Luna returned with a second little brother, another day with a third, each brought with the same patience, the same respect, and the same care not to hurt their fragile bones. To keep up with the pace, Georgia and Paula took turns feeding them, while Mario built a protected enclosure on the porch, complete with non-slip mats and wool blankets. On the kitchen table, bags of powdered puppy formula and bowls of cat kibble coexisted harmoniously, ingredients for a meal born of love. Not everyone, however, viewed that improvised refuge favorably. Mrs. Fusco, across the street, began to watch Luna with accusatory eyes, murmuring to the neighbors that the cat might have turned into a puppy thief. The gossip spread quickly. Some residents claimed to have lost their own dogs recently, and the sight of a cat making nightly visits could only raise alarms. One morning, Mario found a note slipped under the door. "Claim your children, Luna, or we'll report you." Paula tried to respond calmly, but the pressure was mounting. They decided to enlist the help of Massimo, the neighborhood police officer, a man of kind heart and sensitive to animal stories. Massimo listened to every detail, from the discovery of the puppies to Luna's small gestures of affection. He proposed organizing an inspection of the abandoned cottage on the outskirts, known only from an old photograph Georgia had secretly taken in front of the rusted gate. The driving rain did not deter the inspection. Armed with flashlights and raincoats, Officer Massimo accompanied Mario and Paola through the overgrown yard, where tall grass brushed their knees. Behind a broken window, a slight movement gave the first clue. Inside lay a stray dog, exhausted but alert, beside 5 tiny puppies huddled together. Her flank bore the marks of a recent labor, and her gaze spoke of a pain that mirrored Luna's own. There, under that leaking roof, the Tincagrana family realized that Luna had not kidnapped a single puppy. She had rescued them one by one from a mother who, alone and ill, had been unable to protect them. As the stray dog bowed slightly to Paola's gentle strokes, Luna and her little dogs stood guard silently, vigilant as watchful guardians. Massimo took notes and photographs, ensuring those images would settle any suspicion of theft. The news spread quickly through the neighborhood. In just a few days, former hostility turned into a chain of solidarity. Mr. Palumbo, the baker, brought fresh bread and pastries, the hairdresser across the street provided clean towels, and the neighborhood children took shifts playing with the puppies and teaching Luna new games. Pasquale from Animals Pets offered to treat the stray for free and arranged vaccinations and preventive care for all the animals involved. Proud of Luna, Georgia learned to read both feline and canine body language, translating each one's needs into daily acts of care. Paola discovered a newfound inner strength. Between the joy of seeing Luna come back to life and the relief of having helped an entire family of dogs, her heart swelled with gratitude. Mario, observing that microcosm of different species coexisting in harmony, decided to document the story in a photographic journal, convinced that its true value lay in its ability to overcome every barrier. When the stray, finally reinvigorated, was able to reunite with her puppies, Luna showed no sign of jealousy. She simply sat beside the enclosure, watching with the serenity of one who knows she has given an inestimable gift. Her human and canine pups grew up together in a blooming garden, each learning from the other, feline grace from canine affection, canine loyalty from feline wisdom. On Pasquale's advice, the Cincagrana family decided to make their home refuge official, creating a small social media page to share the adventures of Luna and the animals she had saved. In no time, their deeds went viral. Thousands of people across Italy responded with heartfelt comments asking for daily updates. Each evening, Georgia read those messages while Luna curled up on the pillow beside her, purring softly as if to say, "Love is the real magic." With the stray and her puppies now by Luna's side, a new balance was established. The Cinquagrana home became a small haven of hope for every needy animal. Each morning, Georgia and her mother, Paola, organized a communal breakfast on the porch. Bowls of kibble for dogs, bowls of wet food for cats, and a warm blanket for any newcomer still trembling. Neighbors began bringing donations, sometimes a bag of food, sometimes a supply of toys and cushions. Mr. Palumbo, the baker, prepared top-quality focaccia for them, while the stationery shop owner donated notebooks and illustrated books to entertain the children who came to visit. Meanwhile, Luna had fully regained her vitality. Her twilight runs along the garden wall became legendary. The birds would fall silent as she passed by, as though to greet her. The 5 puppies grew strong and playful, and the stray, now named Stella by the community, returned every look with gratitude. Georgia, who by then could no longer imagine her life without that extended family, decided each week to go to school with a new story to tell. Today, Luna taught a little black kitten how to purr, or Stella learned to play with a ball of yarn. Her classmates listened enthralled, and before long, the Friends of Luna Club was born, a group of children devoted to volunteering for the loneliest animals. One Sunday afternoon, the family organized a small adoption event in the courtyard. Not a gala, but an informal party with homemade cookies, non-alcoholic beer for the adults, and fruit juice for the little ones. There, beneath a large oak tree, 50 volunteers from the city shelter arrived with a collection of cats and dogs seeking new homes. Paula and Mario watched with pride as Stella's puppies, now perfectly socialized, played freely. A single look or a gentle meow was enough for someone to decide to adopt them on the spot. Within a few hours, every animal had found a family. That afternoon, amid laughter and wagging tails, it became clear that this house was not merely a home, but a true center of solidarity. As the months passed, news of Luna's and Stella's exploits even reached the pages of the local newspapers. The Cinquegranas received an email from the parish priest of their neighborhood church inviting them to collaborate on a pet therapy project for lonely seniors. Paula accepted enthusiastically. Every Wednesday afternoon she took Luna and one of the adoptable puppies to the Villa dei Sorrisi nursing home, where the residents greeted them with gentle strokes and stories of their youth. Luna would curl up on the lap of a 100-year-old lady, while the puppy, proud of its mission, wagged its tail happily. In those small moments of care, one could truly feel the power of unconditional love. Meanwhile, Georgia created an illustrated diary titled The Adventures of Luna and Stella, drawing each chapter of their incredible journey. She had a few copies printed with the help of the village print shop and gave them to her teachers as a testament to how a single act of solidarity can change the fate of many creatures. During an Italian lesson, Miss Elisabetta read excerpts aloud, prompting both applause and a few tears among the classmates. Thanks to the example set by the Cinquegranas, the community learned to look beyond appearances. They understood that an abandoned animal is never a burden, but an opportunity for growth. Paula and Mario's home never closed its doors. It remained a gathering place for all who believed in the value of kindness. Luna, with her proud gaze, strolled across the lawn like a queen, aware that she had sparked a small revolution of empathy. Today, as the sun sets and the shadows lengthen, Luna rests beside the empty cage that once housed her kittens. At her side, an adult dog, now independent, rests a paw against her flank in a gesture of gratitude. Paula smiles as she watches from the porch. The story of an abandoned kitten has become a choral song of hope and solidarity, proving that even the smallest heart can have the power to change the world. With the arrival of summer, the Cinquegrana garden buzzed like a hive of activity. Every morning, before the sun rose, Luna would set out on another exploration, followed by Georgia, who, silent as a shadow, watched her with her heart in her throat. She resisted, with gentle resolve, the urge to call the neighbors or put up flyers. She knew Luna would act in the interest of whoever needed her most, and indeed, after just a few days, the soft cries returned. A little hedgehog with a wounded wing, a baby rabbit left alone among the hedges, then a trembling, stray tabby kitten. Each new creature was welcomed with the same loving ritual: a small dish of food, a warm blanket, a quiet corner in which to rest. Paola realized she could no longer limit herself to domestic aid. Coordination was needed. With Pasquale from Animals Pets at her side, she reached out to local associations and organized a small network of volunteers ready to respond to nighttime discoveries. She also drew up a rota to keep the shelter running: communal dinners to raise funds, workshops teaching basic animal first aid, and presentations in local schools. Thus, the home refuge became an official point of reference, and Luna's story, passionately told by Georgia on their blog, reached well beyond the city limits. But it wasn't only helpless creatures who found salvation. The human community also strengthened its bonds. Neighbors who once whispered accusations now took turns baking cakes, lending blankets, and providing medicines for the animals in care. The Cinquegrana home rang with the laughter of children bringing bags of seed for the garden birds, of elders sharing stories of their own beloved pets, and of middle schoolers building wooden nests to hang in the trees. Luna, with regal grace, observed it all from the center of the courtyard, as though blessing each act of kindness. That summer, Luna faced her greatest challenge. A fox cub, caught in a makeshift trap, arrived unaware of its grim predicament. The wound was deep, and the little one could not move. Paula, finding him on the porch with eyes full of terror, immediately called the veterinarian. With care, Luna stayed beside the cub all through the night, licking away the clotted blood, warming him with her small body, and shielding him from the cold. During the procedure, Pasquale kept the clinic door open so the cat could witness the patient's awakening. The next day, the little fox let out a faint whine of relief. He saw Luna leaning over him, and it was as if he recognized his salvation. The account of that gesture, published online, moved thousands and prompted a group of volunteers to raise funds for the Wildlife Recovery Center. Despite the success and widespread enthusiasm, moments of doubt and tension arose. Some wildlife experts warned against overly anthropomorphizing Luna's behavior. "It's wonderful that the cat rescues the cubs," they said, "but she risks upsetting the natural balance. Better to rely on specialized facilities." Paula realized an open dialogue was needed. She called a public meeting in the square behind the church, inviting biologists, volunteers, families, and officials. Before a diverse audience, she outlined the procedures they'd adopted, the results achieved, and emphasized how each rescued animal was subsequently reintroduced into its natural habitat, where possible, or placed with families ready to give it love. The discussion, at times heated, led to an effective compromise. The Cinquegrana Home Refuge would continue to handle new finds, but every intervention by Luna presented as first aid would then be handed over to a team of experts for definitive treatment and eventual release. The protocol was named Luna's Code and was soon adopted by other centers in the province. Georgia took part in drafting the illustrated manual for schools, while Mario set up a photographic and documentary archive in the attic to keep track of every rescue story. With the arrival of the following autumn, Luna was virtually awarded the title of Ambassador of Life by a national animal protection organization. A small online ceremony showed her seated on a white cushion as Paula read the certificate and an emotional Georgia stroked her back. The recognition was not a trophy, but confirmation that the passion of one small cat and a devoted family could become a model replicable across the country. Meanwhile, the stray Stella and her 5 puppies had found stable homes, many with children who grew up admiring Luna's courage. It was then that Paula decided to create a formal association, Friends of Luna Onlus, with a small office in the historic center. Mario took charge of the website, and Georgia became the official mascot, participating in events and animated readings for the little ones. The Onlus organized courses in canine and feline education, seminars on cohabitation and first aid, and upheld Luna's Code as an ethical imperative for all volunteers. Within a few months, dozens of shelters joined the project, and local primary schools incorporated a standing lesson on respecting and caring for animals, drawn from the story of the cat with the golden heart, into their curriculum. Today, years after Luna's first discovery in Mr. Palumbo's trash bin, she rests on her favorite cushion, curled up by the warmth of the lit fireplace. The garden, once empty and silent, now hosts flowering hedges, aviaries for rehabilitated birds, and small birdhouses painted by the children of the Friends of Luna Club. Every action, the spoon offering food, the drop of medicine, the reassuring whisper, carries the memory of all those hearts that have known pain, fear, and loneliness, and of all who were reborn by an act of love. Georgia, now a teenager, has become the spokesperson for the national project, telling on television and social media how one cat and a family have shown that courage knows no bounds and that empathy can transform an entire community. Paula and Mario, their faces lined with the memories of every rescue, know that true reward lies not in awards or titles, but in the smile of someone who has found hope again. And Luna, her gaze still reflecting emerald green, continues to look upon the world as a place to protect, day after day, with the silent dignity of one who knows that life in all its forms is always worth saving. With the official founding of Friends of Luna Onlus, the Cinquegrana home was transformed into a true operational headquarters. One wing of the garage was converted into a small clinic, complete with an examination table, heat lamps, and a cart stocked with syringes, sterile gauze, and medications. Every morning, volunteers and veterinary school interns took turns cleaning cages, administering treatments, and learning from Luna's now proven method: first aid in the field, then specialized care in the clinic. The Onlus blog was updated with detailed reports: numbers of animals rescued, species, types of intervention, and percentages of return to the wild or permanent adoption. Within a few months, the Good News section featured incredible cases: an injured owl returned to flight, a fawn saved from a speeding car, a sea turtle found on the beach with a fishing net caught in its shell. Luna, officially honorary assistant, received awards from the province and environmental organizations. To engage younger generations even more, Paula and Georgia organized Nature Days, guided forest visits in search of wildlife tracks, workshops on building bird feeders, and mini-courses on recognizing signs of illness in animals. Georgia's school hosted, for 1 month, a series of lessons taught by the Onlus, with biologists, park rangers, and even Officer Massimo explaining the role of law enforcement in animal protection. Among the dozens of testimonies received by email, one was particularly moving. A young hiker had fallen on a slippery rock, fracturing his leg. A herd of roe deer, intrigued by his distress, approached and formed a shield against nighttime hypothermia, keeping him warm with their own body heat. Brought to the Cinquegrana refuge, he was treated and then released back into the wild. The story became a symbol of a bond that transcends every barrier between humans and animals, just as Luna had shown with the puppies. Another account told of a group of coypus rescued from the icy waters of a canal, recovered one by one thanks to the nighttime intervention of a volunteer who had followed Luna's example. The journal recounted in simple yet moving language the dedication required to dry them, warm them, and feed them, reminding everyone that even the least cuddly species deserve protection. These stories enriched the Luna's Code, with new sections dedicated to interacting with wildlife, complete with illustrated panels showing how to safely approach an injured animal, how to notify the proper authorities immediately, and how to transfer the animal to the center without causing additional stress. 1 year after its first recognition, Friends of Luna Onlus organized its first international conference on interspecies integration and animal protection in urban and rural contexts. Hosted in a downtown theater, speakers from across Europe took the stage: ethologists, veterinarians, environmental psychologists, and even a philosopher who spoke on the ethical value of interspecies empathy. Luna and Georgia were invited on stage to testify in person. The cat, with regal stride, walked the runway set between rows of red velvet seats, while her little owner explained how a simple act of kindness can become a global paradigm. The audience applauded for a long time, and at the end many came forward to offer themselves as volunteers or to launch similar projects in their own regions. Today, the Onlus has dozens of affiliated branches throughout Italy and in several European countries. Luna's Code has been translated into 5 languages and is used as a basic manual in schools and wildlife rehabilitation centers. Luna, now elderly, continues to live in the Cinquegrana home, surrounded by affection and gratitude. Her gaze, once timid and fearful, has become the guardian of hope for thousands of creatures. Georgia, now a biology student, works alongside Pasquale and a team of researchers to develop new rescue and reintegration techniques. Paula coordinates the Onlus's national activities, while Mario manages the blog and social media awareness campaigns. Together, they have inaugurated a new recovery center, equipped with advanced operating rooms, naturalistic recovery areas, and even a small veterinary analysis laboratory. Luna's story teaches us that there are no walls tall enough to stop the desire to live and to protect life. A heart, even as small as that of a cat, can contain the entire universe. And when that heart beats in unison with the pulses of thousands of creatures, it unleashes a force capable of transforming neighborhoods, cities, and entire nations. So, as the sun sets behind the trees of the Cinquegrana garden, a gentle caress will stroke Luna's golden coat. It will be the sound of a world that has learned to care for its most vulnerable side. And then, in that perfect moment, we will understand that every life saved is a story worth telling. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos like this. Share your thoughts in the comments. We're curious to know what you think. See you soon.